Hello, now I want you to picture a car, not a flashy, bright red Italian thing that screams for attention and then breaks down if you look at it too sternly. No, think of something else entirely. Think of a car that's a bit like a dependable old Labrador retriever, loyal, perhaps a little bit boxy, and always there for you, come rain or shine. That car almost certainly is a Volvo. For decades, these Swedish machines have earned a reputation for being unkillable, for lasting forever. It's a reputation so strong that you almost expect to see them handed down in wills, alongside a grandfather clock and a slightly worn armchair. People don't just buy Volvos, they form a long-term, sensible relationship with them. This reputation isn't some clever marketing gimmick cooked up in a boardroom over meatballs and lingonberry jam. It's something that has been earned, bolt by bolt, over many, many years. When you talk to someone who owns an old Volvo, they don't speak about its blistering acceleration or how it handles on a racetrack. Instead, they'll tell you about the time it started without a fuss in the middle of a blizzard, or how it dutifully hauled furniture, dogs, and children across the country without a single complaint. It's a car built for life's less glamorous but far more important journeys. The question then is why? How did this one company manage to become the undisputed champion of longevity? The answer, as you might expect, isn't a single, magical component. It's not because they fit a special kind of spark plug or use a secret type of oil. The real reason Volvos last forever is a philosophy, a particular way of thinking about what a car should be. It's a mindset that prioritizes safety, durability, and practical usefulness above all else. While other car makers were chasing higher horsepower figures or trendier designs, Volvo was quietly figuring out how to make a door hinge that would still work perfectly after being opened and closed 50,000 times. It's a bit boring, I'll grant you, but it's the good kind of boring, the reliable kind. So let's pop the bonnet, metaphorically speaking, and have a good poke around. We're going to look at the real, tangible reasons behind this legendary endurance. We'll explore the engineering, the materials, and the almost obsessive testing that goes into making a car that simply refuses to give up. It's a story not of speed, but of stamina. A tale of sensible shoes in a world obsessed with stilettos. And by the end, you'll understand why the humble Volvo isn't just a car. It's one of the most thoughtfully engineered, dependable companions you could ever wish to have on the road. It's a testament to doing a job properly. When you think of Volvo, the word safety is probably the first thing that pops into your head, and for good reason. But what many people don't realize is that Volvo's obsession with safety is directly linked to its incredible durability. The two things are two sides of the same coin. To build a car that can protect its occupants in a serious accident, you have to build a car that is incredibly strong and structurally sound. You can't make a car safe by using flimsy materials or cutting corners on the assembly line. A car that can withstand a crash is also, by its very nature, a car that can withstand the rigors of time. Take the car's body, for instance. Volvo has long been a pioneer in using high-strength steel in critical areas of the chassis. They developed the concept of a rigid safety cage that surrounds the passengers, with crumple zones at the front and rear designed to absorb the energy of an impact. To make that central cage as strong as possible, they used thick steel pillars and reinforced sills. These are the very same components that prevent the car's body from flexing and twisting over bumps and through corners during everyday driving. This structural rigidity not only makes the car safer, it also prevents squeaks and rattles from developing as the car ages. This philosophy extends to every part of the car's construction. Look at the doors on an old Volvo. They close with a solid, reassuring thunk, not a tinny clang. That's because they are heavy, filled with side impact protection beams, and hung on substantial, over-engineered hinges. These doors are designed to stay shut in a collision, and as a happy side effect, they don't sag or go out of alignment after years of use. Even the paintwork was designed with longevity in mind, often featuring multiple layers of primers and coatings to resist the rust that plagued so many other cars, especially in the harsh Swedish winters. So while Volvo was busy inventing things like the 3-point seatbelt and side impact protection systems, they were also inadvertently creating a recipe for an incredibly durable vehicle. Now, let's talk about what goes on under the bonnet. Volvo engines, especially the legendary red block 4-cylinder engines found in models like the 240 and 740 series, are masterpieces of durability. They were not designed to be the most powerful or the most high-revving engines on the market. Their design brief was clearly different. They were built to be absolutely indestructible. These engines were famously understressed, which is a wonderful piece of engineering jargon that means they were built to handle far more power and abuse than they were ever asked to produce in standard form. This created a huge margin for reliability. The internal components of these engines were famously tough. They featured things like forged crankshafts and connecting rods, components you would typically find in a high-performance racing engine, yet here they were in a sensible family estate car. The engine blocks themselves were made from high-quality cast iron and were incredibly stout, with thick cylinder walls. This meant they were less prone to wear and could often be rebuilt multiple times, extending the life of the car almost indefinitely. It was the kind of engine you could neglect, and it would forgive you. It was the kind of engine that just kept going, even when common sense suggested it should have stopped long ago. The design was also beautifully simple. There were no overly complicated variable valve timing systems or delicate electronics to fail. They were straightforward, logical machines that a reasonably competent home mechanic could work on with a basic set of tools. This accessibility is a crucial part of longevity. When a car is easy and relatively inexpensive to repair, owners are more likely to keep it running rather than scrap it at the first sign of trouble. Volvo understood that a car's life doesn't end when a part wears out. It ends when it becomes too difficult or too expensive to replace that part. A car is only as good as the materials it's made from, and this is an area where Volvo has always been particularly fussy. It's one thing to have a great design on paper, but if you build it with subpar steel and cheap plastic, it simply won't last. Volvo's testing procedures are legendary in the car industry for being particularly brutal. They have a climate chamber where they can simulate everything from the searing heat of a desert to the freezing cold of the Arctic Circle, testing how materials and components react to extreme temperature swings. Volvo has its own state-of-the-art safety center where they conduct more crash tests than are legally required. They smash cars into walls, into other cars, and even simulate collisions with wild moose, which is a very real problem in Sweden. Or in this case, on the odometer. The most famous of these is, of course, the story of Irv Gordon and his 1966 Volvo P1800S. Irv, a science teacher from New York, bought the car new and simply kept driving it. In 1998, he made it into the Guinness World Records for the highest mileage on a single-owner vehicle, with 1.69 million miles, and eventually surpassing an astonishing 3 million miles in 2013. That's the equivalent of driving to the moon and back more than 6 times. There is an informal but proud community of owners known as the Volvo Million Mile Club. These are people who have nursed their 240s, 740s, and 940s past the magical 7-figure mark on the odometer, crossed the million-mile threshold in 2021. The car still had its original engine and transmission, a staggering achievement for any vehicle. So, we've established that Volvos are built like very safe, very reliable sheds on wheels, thanks to sensible engineering, a fanatical devotion to safety, and engines that prioritize finishing the race over winning it. But why does this matter so much? In a world of disposable goods and constant upgrades, what is the value of a car that is built to last? The answer, I think, is peace of mind. Buying a car is one of the biggest purchases most people will ever make, and it's a purchase that comes with a lot of worries. For a family, this is incredibly important. Knowing that your car has been obsessively designed to protect you in an accident provides a level of reassurance that is hard to put a price on, into a sort of mobile guardian for the people you care about most. Furthermore, a durable car is a sensible financial decision, a vehicle that doesn't constantly need expensive repairs and that holds its value well because of its reputation is a smarter place to put your money. It's the buy it once, buy it right philosophy applied to motoring. Is because they were designed for people, not for showrooms. They were built to handle the messy, unpredictable reality of daily life, year after year. They were engineered to be a dependable partner, a trusted member of the family that you can always count on, but on something far more valuable, trust. And that, I think we can all agree, is a very sensible thing indeed.